We have to unmute first. Welcome everyone
Hello.
to the first episode of Parkside Chat.
The maiden voyage.
I'm Brian,
And I'm TJ.
and
And
that's
I'm Liz.
Liz. Welcome everyone. So this is of course, our first episode. I'm a little kind of like making sure because I'm kind of running the ship here, and so it's like making sure everything's running. But I'm excited to get this started. So welcome to Parkside Chat. Parkside Chat was an idea I had earlier this year because I wanted to be able to get to know you guys better, have conversations, go in deeper, share my thoughts on things. And hopefully that's the same for Liz and TJ as well. We'll kind of do an intro round here in a minute. But I just kind of wanted to introduce the reason for the show. I started creating content in July of 2020 during the pandemic and started to bring you guys into the parks with me. And from there, I started to share travel and experiences and started to do a lot more food and just basically sharing stories and experiences with you. And so that's my hope with this, is that we can talk about different travel, food, theme park topics, and get into a little bit deeper than just the short format, because obviously when you see my content, whether it's on stories or it's on reels or TikTok, it's short format content. And I want to be a little bit more personable and get in there with you guys and talk. So welcome to Parkside Chat. That's kind of what we're all about here. And I want to allow TJ to kind of give us an intro to what we can expect from this episode.
Yeah. So let me get that together.
And while TJ pulls that up, we're gonna take it over to Liz. Liz is with Star Stuff Travel, and you can find her at planetwithliz.com. If you're on YouTube, you can see it on the screen there. If you go into my bio on Instagram, if you're watching on Instagram, you can click a link there and get a complimentary quote. But I'm gonna let Liz do a little intro on herself.
My little spiel. Yeah, so today's episode and future episodes are brought to you by planetwithliz.com. I am an affiliate of Star Stuff Travel, and I really hope that we're able to use these times to connect with each other, connect with you, and maybe inspire future travel, whether it's to Disney or another Orlando destination, or anywhere around the world. So please feel free to message me, connect with me. If you do have travel thoughts or sort of like a sprinkle of travel coming up, I'm certainly a resource that would be able to assist you complimentary.
Definitely. Well, we're glad to have Liz. So Liz is going to play kind of like a producer role. She's going to be a regular on the show. There might be some weeks where she's not here, but hopefully most of the time Liz is going to be on the show with us, is what we're hoping. But we're excited that Liz is with us. Liz is a longtime friend. So TJ, what do we have on the show today?
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of go down the list. We're going to go over kind of a bunch of topics. One of the big ones we're going to talk about is what we did over the past weekend when Liz was in town. So it was a mix of Epcot and Universal. And then we're also going to go over some news topics, one of them being all of the Halloween Horror Nights houses that were just announced, and then 2 of the scare zones as well. And then we'll end it off with a little game of Would You Rather. So that's going to be fun.
All right. Yeah, so make sure you guys stick around for the Would You Rather and play along with us. So welcome if you're watching on YouTube. I see there's a few people watching on YouTube. Hello to those people. Hello to those joining us on Instagram. Liz is checking your comments on Instagram. So if you have questions on Instagram, type those questions in the chat on Instagram. I'm not following the chat live the whole time, but Liz is. I am switching over to see if there's any questions pop up. I can do that, but Liz is going to have eyes on the Instagram.
So if you see me looking down, I'm not like nodding off. I'm just
all of us checking in.
Yeah, we're trying to make sure we answer questions and all that good stuff. Also, let us know about audio. This is our first time. We've done a test run. It wasn't successful on Instagram, but now it is successful on Instagram. So this is kind of like our first episode. Let us know how the audio is, both on YouTube and Instagram. we want to work to make this the best show possible for you guys. So let's get into our news segment. We have a few news stories with you. We've kind of already developed how news is kind of going to work for us a little bit. I think I'm probably going to bring you more of the food news. TJ will bring you more of the theme park news, and Liz is going to bring you the travel news, and not focusing on like Walt Disney World per se, or Universal or Disneyland. She'll focus internationally as well, like domestic, international. If there's an important travel news for, you know, the theme park, she'll throw that in there. But that's kind of what we've established just in this first episode, and I think that that's probably a good formula for us. So Liz is going to kick us off with what she has to share for news this episode.
Yes. So recently announced, those traveling to Europe in 2024 will need a new sort of like authorization in order to enjoy their stay there. So it's called the European Travel Information and Authorization System. It's $8, so you're not really going to break the bank. And the nice thing
how
is
far in
that,
advance do you have to do this?
well, the recommendation is before you book airfare or hotel, just to give it time to get approved and marinate and all that good stuff. They haven't released what date in 2024 it will become a requirement. So it could be January 1, could be June 1. We don't know. But it is something, if you're considering traveling abroad, especially to Europe, always make sure we're double checking what the requirements are, because things might change or they might update or add something new like this. So I'm thankful it's only $8 a person. I feel like it could very easily go higher than that.
So it's almost like you're getting a visa-ish a little bit, because there's some countries that have it where you have to get a visa, but it's really quick online. So this is basically, they're not calling it a visa, but basically it's a visa.
Exactly. And they'll last for 3 years or until your passport expiration, whichever.
Okay, so you don't have to do it every time that you go to Europe.
No.
All right.
That's nice.
All right, thank you, Liz. So anything else on that? No? Good. All right. So we are going to move on to Halloween Horror Nights. And TJ, well, this is exciting because this is coming up soon, in just less than a month now. So we're going to talk Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah. So Universal finally announced, Universal Orlando, let me specify, finally announced all of their themed houses, as well as 2 of the new scare zones, which they just announced today. So I'm going to read through the list of the houses. The first one is going to be Stranger Things 4. Next is going to be The Exorcist Believer, based off the new movie that's coming out that looks really good. The next one's going to be The Last of Us, based off of the video game, which I loved. It's such a good game.
And it's a good series on HBO.
On HBO as well, yes. The next one is going to be Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. Then there's going to be Universal Monsters Unmasked, followed by Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. Then there's going to be Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate, which sounds really cool. And then the next one's going to be Yeti Campground Kills, followed by The Darkest Deal. And then finally Bleed for the Blood Moon.
Blood Moon. It says here Blood Moon Dark Offerings.
Yes.
All right, that one. All right, so TJ, which one are you most looking forward to?
I think for me, it's probably going to be The Last of Us. I do believe they've done Stranger Things before, but this is going to be based off of the newer season,
right? More
so with the Vecna character, and that show just as a whole has been like amazing. So that's going to be good. But I think I'm more excited for The Last of Us because I was deeply involved in the video game, so it's very good
on that show.
Yeah, and the show's good too. So I've watched TJ play the video game, have watched the show, and now we'll get to go through the house. So I think that, yeah, I'm most interested to see that, how they make how they make the house and how they realize that in quote unquote real life. So and then they have scare zones as well. I think they announced one just today.
Yeah, so one of the ones they announced today, the first one being Dr. Oddfellow's Collection of Horror. I believe that's going to be the main character for Halloween Horror Nights. And then the newer one that they announced today is going to be Vamp 69 Summer of Blood, which is based off of a 60s music festival.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting concept, and I think that's going to be what I was reading today, like vampires.
Correct. Yeah.
Did Brian Adams give the rights to that? I don't know.
I was kind of interested. There's one, I think it's the odd thing. It looked like Dr. Facilier character from Princess and the Frog. I don't know, you can't really see it on our side, but that's what it looked like to me. There was a little guy on that one, and he looked like Dr. Facilier. So I
kind of got that vibe too.
Yeah. So I'm curious about that one to see if it's like a New Orleans voodoo type thing. So. All right, so we are going to move on. So I want to talk about magical dining. For those who don't know, magical dining is it starts like middle of this month to middle of September, and it's a time here in Central Florida where many restaurants have a $40 or $60 now, which I'll get to that in a moment, prefix meal. So you'll go into the restaurant and there'll be a prefix meal for either $40 per person or $60 per person, and it's a 3-course meal. And I wanted to focus today, there are 7 restaurants that are on Walt Disney World property. So I want to go over and share those with you. So if you're coming to Walt Disney World, if you're here in Central Florida, and you want to partake in magical dining, definitely look at the magical dining website. And but I wanted to highlight the Walt Disney World restaurant. So the first one is Amare over at Swan and Dolphin. This is a $40 menu. We've actually dined at all of these at one time or another. So you have Amare, that's at Swan Reserve. This is one of the newer restaurants on Walt Disney World property. And then we have Il Molino, once again, at Swan and Dolphin. It's on the Swan side. This is another $40 menu. A good Italian food. I've been here several times. We actually just had drinks there a few weeks ago, and their drink serving size was huge. So you can also sit at the bar here. Yeah, Liz, you would really have enjoyed that. Haleo at Disney Springs. So there's a Disney Springs offering here. Haleo is $40. This is one of the best values. And actually we have, TJ and I have done magical dining here, and it's a great value. I think it's like 5 courses instead of just 3 because it's more tapas style. So you get a lot of food here for the $40. And then we just were here with Liz, actually, Ravello. They're not doing a magical dining for breakfast. They're doing magical dining for dinner, but it's a $40 prefix meal there, which I think is a pretty good value there. This is also Michelin recommended restaurants. So when you go to the magical dining website, you can filter out which of the restaurants are Michelin guide recommended. There's no Michelin star restaurants on the list, but there are Michelin recommended restaurants on the list. And then we have STK, which is Disney Springs. This is a $60 menu. Hopefully get more than those burgers, but this is the image that they had on their magical dining is the burgers. So $60 for those burgers. But STK is there in Disney Springs. And then Todd English's Blue Zoo is also $60. We've been to Todd English before. I really like Todd English, but I don't know the $60 price point here. That doesn't make sense to me with, I don't know. I just feel like it should be a $40, but that's just my personal opinion. But they are at the Dolphin side of Swan and Dolphin. And then Wolfgang Puck Bar and Grill, which I really like Wolfgang Puck Bar and Grill, especially their bar lounge area. It's really nice. It's in Disney Springs, and they have a $40 option as well. And while we talk about food and dining, I have one more thing to bring up. I want to talk about Flor Flamingos because I was just there last week on a media preview of their updated menu. This is a spot where I always recommend people to go for a date night because it's such a nice vibe. This is kind of I'm showing a picture now of the vibe of the restaurant. The restaurant is several of these rooms. It's not one big room, but several of these rooms where they have like 4 to 6 tables, and it's just intimate and overlooks like tropical landscape. It's just a nice vibe. It's not one of those restaurants where it's just a wide open space and you feel like it's just almost a cafeteria style. This is more intimate. Liz, we were supposed to go here, but unfortunately we couldn't make it because we wanted to go. What was it, on an Easter Sunday or something?
But yeah, a few years ago we hopped on our cruise, and I was like, "Yes, let's go." It was last year, last year, but it was an Easter brunch, so it wasn't going to work with our schedule.
I just wanted to highlight this one because I think it's a really great restaurant. They have some new items. This is one of their classics, though. So they make these little pearls for the oysters, and then they serve the oysters. They pour kind of like a dry ice mixture over it, but it's safe to eat. They don't actually put the dry ice directly onto the food because that can be unsafe. But very good. This was their I believe it was their lamb. This was one of my favorites that we tried last week. This lobster bisque is fantastic. It was the best lobster bisque I have ever had. Definitely grab this when you go over there. They have a beautiful fresh burrata salad. And then we're not going to get into that yet, but that's Four Flamingos. I just wanted to share Four Flamingos with you guys. I always recommend it for a date night. Highly recommend for a date night. And it's located at the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress. So that is just a few minutes away from Disney Springs. So if you're staying at Walt Disney World or if you're staying at Universal, it's not really too far from either of those properties. And of course, for locals, it's not too bad either. In terms of depending on where you are to get there. So, all right. So that is our news segment. So we're going to kind of get into a breakdown of the weekend that we had last weekend. Liz came in for a not really impromptu trip too much. I mean, you planned it. You had been planning it for a few
we had
weeks.
like 3 weeks, I guess, in advance. But quick trip. I mean, we did a lot within a Friday afternoon through Sunday afternoon. Like we were, and that heat was just so unforgiving.
That's no joke.
The heat here, guys,
brutal.
right now is just crazy. If you're coming here, you 100% need to have a UV umbrella. You need to have your fan that I like my fan that spritzes water, it mists water. So 100% you need
all the sunblock
protection. Yes. Let's see. I want to do shout outs real quick. So Shannon is here. Hey, Shannon. If you're still watching on YouTube, thanks for coming in. Let's see who is there's several people on Instagram. So hello everyone that's on Instagram.
Cheyenne, Chloe, Matt, Karen, Lee, Womack, Rachel B, Sharon, Janine.
So Gio actually had a question back to the news segment, Liz. I don't know if you saw that, but Gio asked, do you know if we need we're just going to call it the visa. Do we know if we need the visa just for day trips? I'm looking at doing a day trip to either Paris or Bruges. Is that how you pronounce that? From London in March.
Yep, it'll be entering the country.
I think Gio, you're just going to have to get it because it'll last for 3 years. So it's just like a visa you're going to have to get, just like if you were to take a day trip to any country that would require a visa, it's going to be just like a visa. So. All right. Oh, Rachel's saying that that people should check out my Amazon Park survival list. Yes, it's all linked in the bio. You can go to my Amazon list and you can get the fans that we use. You can get the UV umbrella that we use, which we even get questions out and about. Somebody asked me recently, does that actually work? And I was like, yes, it's an umbrella and it 100% works no matter what the color is. But
I didn't believe it. And then I saw you guys walking around with it, and I could feel from my regular umbrella that was not doing anything. And then I think like at one point TJ like walked next to me, and I was like, oh, even just like the corner of my shoulder is covered, and I feel so much better.
There you go. I mean, it really does work. It's silver on the outside, so it's silver on the umbrella portion. I think it's black on the interior of the umbrella, but it's silver on the exterior portion, so it bounces the light back away from you. So definitely. Oh, and cooling towels. We kind of wished, I think, last weekend that we had cooling towels. So, all right. So speaking of last weekend, we're going to get into last weekend. We're going to get used to checking the comments more and doing all of that. So bear with us as we adjust and get comfortable with this format. Liz is going to start us off with the weekend recap.
So I hopped off my Mears Connect shuttle, met the guys at for Wilderness. So we could do Trails End and Crockett's Tavern, which had just reopened. I think only having been a few days open, they were still kind of working through some kinks and maybe some things that will get better as the weeks move forward. It was a little chaotic at first. We didn't really know how we needed to order food or if we just could do the grab and go. So that was a little disappointing. But I think the highlights at Trails End were the mashed potatoes. They were really quite good.
Yes, randomly it was the mashed potatoes that was the highlight. That had the most flavor, which doesn't say a lot for Trails End. If I'm being blunt, we missed the old Trails End. I don't know if Liz experienced that, but TJ and I did for breakfast, and then I have several times for dinner. And the Trails End dinner buffet and the breakfast buffet were both a nice little hidden gem in Walt Disney World. So
yeah. But at Crockett's, we really enjoyed a number of things there. The cauliflower were really good. You guys really enjoyed the sliders. The dessert trio was delicious. It was nice because we had 4 of us there, so we could each kind of like really enjoy one more than the other ones. Like I loved the banana pudding one. I thought that was great. Then of course I had the strawberry shortcake, which is a fan favorite. And then for beverages, we got the cocktail flight. We got that one drink, I'm blanking on the name, but it has the oldest, like America's first liquor or something in it.
Yeah, I wish we had the name right now,
apple,
but one of
apple something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the one, if you see it in the picture here, if you can see that, it's the one in the kind of the coupe glass, the almost like martini looking glass. It had a liquor in there that's America's oldest liquor in terms of like a branded liquor, which, and I forget the name, but that's kind of a cool thing. I actually meant to look that up just to see if they sell it in liquor stores.
And I got the moonshine margarita, which was really good. I just have it up here. Camper's Coupe, featuring America's first spirit Laird's Applejack Randy.
The other thing that I'll say about Crockett's Tavern is I don't think there used to ever be inside seating. There is now inside seating at Crockett's Tavern, which it wasn't a thing before. And so now they have a dedicated space so you can sit down there, and they've refreshed the interior on both Trails End and Crockett's Tavern, and it's not an update that makes it look out of place. It's not modern by any means. It just is an update, but it does fit the Fort Wilderness vibes.
And I would say, just as sort of like a mini pro tip, be mindful of when what's it called? The show with dinner? I'm blanking.
Oh, Hoop-de-Doo.
Hoop-de-Doo. Right, be mindful of when Hoop-de-Doo is starting and ending. They have 3 shows a day. And so, of course, like the bus system to get you over there if you're coming from the parking lot or if you're coming from Magic Kingdom. And then you just have to push your way through the sea of humanity of people. And then inside both of those places will be really open. But just be mindful of those show times.
Right, definitely. All right, so from there that evening, we headed over to French Quarter.
And so from there, we went over to Scat Cats Club, which is such a vibe. It's so relaxing in there. It's so nice. And then the singers that were on stage, the band, that was amazing. It was so good.
They were so good.
And then for one of the drinks, Erica and I, we got the drink that was based off of the movie from the Haunted Mansion that just came out. I think this was one of the ones where it looks better in the picture, but it still tasted great. But as far as presentation, when it came out, it was kind of runny and kind of left a mess on the table. I felt bad, but it was still good. It was very tart. I'm trying to remember what exactly was in it, but it was still very good nonetheless. And then we just shared some appetizers, and we did some of the loaded tots that were actually very good. And then we ventured over next door to try the new beignets, which were Oreo flavored. And I thought they were good. My only thing was I wish we could get more of the icing. But overall, they were still very tasty. They were very good.
I need them to start putting a side of that marshmallow. Because you get the regular beignets, you get the chocolate dipping sauce. They should do like a side cup of the marshmallow drizzle.
I'm
That was
sure
the
you can
best
ask
part.
for it. Yeah. I would definitely, yeah, we should ask for that next time.
And so those Haunted
so
Mansion things are limited time. So if you want to experience those things over at the French Quarter and you haven't done so, it's a limited time offering. All right, so from there we were tired by then, and I know Liz was very tired. So we went home, and then the next morning we were up and ready for food and wine. So we did food and wine. We did some of the new items. We tried the pickle milkshake. I actually liked the pickle milkshake. I think Liz's vote was a yes on the pickle milkshake. Let us know. Are you going to try the pickle milkshake? TJ's vote was no on the pickle milkshake, but I liked it. I thought it was just the right amount of pickle, and it was nice. It was better than I expected it to be. So one of the other things I liked the sangria flight because it was very wine forward. It wasn't sweet. So that was over in Spain. I'm trying to think the other thing that I liked. We tried the new roll in Japan. It was pretty good. It was decent. But I think that probably I need to go back and do some of just kind of the standard favorites from Food and Wine, like go to Canada and get some of the like the beef in Canada and stuff like that.
But try the booth in France because
yes,
that one's always a favorite. It's always busy.
Yeah, it just this year there was nothing that was like, except for the pickle milkshake, there was nothing that we tried new that was like super amazing.
Well, and they have more stands opening up in like more into the fall too. So
and this
is there'll still be more new things to try.
So Chloe, she says that she's in Instagram right now. She says, I won't be trying the pickle milkshake. It's really not that bad.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
All right. So from there we did Guardians. We did do a individual lightning lane for Guardians. So we headed over to Guardians. And then right after Guardians, we did the Behind the Seeds tour.
I thought that was so fun. I was like going back to like high school chemistry and biology because our tour guide, she was amazing.
Kelsey was so wonderful and so patient
and so knowledgeable. Like she knew
so knowledgeable. Yeah. And we had a really good small group. I don't know what the limit is for people, but there was like 15 of us, maybe.
I think it was less than that, honestly.
Maybe like 10, but it was perfect. I was gonna say, like, 10, we escaped the heat for about an hour. We learned so much. Like I was asking you questions about my orchid plant that's currently dying downstairs.
Is it still dying, Liz?
No, but I think I fixed it. I got some plant food for it. But Matt and I went to Home Depot yesterday. We had this like big project day here at home. And remember the perlite things they were showing us, like the little white stones to put in to like help with moisture.
Did you find them?
They had it there, and I was like,
"Oh, nice.
I know exactly what you do because Kelsey
so
told me."
So did you buy it?
No.
Oh. Well, there you go. Now you know.
Because I couldn't remember in that moment what I would need it for, if I needed it for my orchid or not. But I think the orchid I need like wood chips or something. It has like a different base. But I'm not growing microgreens anytime soon. But then I would get the perlite.
You're not gonna start microgreens in the backyard?
No, I don't think so.
I really like Behind the Seeds. One of the questions about Behind the Seeds that I got in the comments quite a bit was how do you book it? And I think that there were some DMs as well on how do you book it. You just simply go to the Walt Disney World website, and I would just Google search Behind the Seeds tour, Walt Disney World.
It's under Enchanting Extras. Yeah, if you go to Enchanting Extras when you're logged in, it'll pull up the tours, the photo sessions, anything that is an additional thing you can purchase. It'll all be.
And if you're booking your trip through Liz, then she can just go ahead and handle that for you. And whether she handles it for you or sends you the link directly, she'll take care of booking Behind the Seeds. But definitely worth it. $35.
I was gonna say it wasn't that expensive.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. If you've never done a Walt Disney World tour before, it's kind of a good intro tour to start your tour journey. And yeah, definitely check out Behind the Seeds.
I loved feeling like a VIP with people on Living with the Land, like pointing at us,
Oh
waving.
yeah, that was
I
funny.
was like, this is great. I love
He said,
this.
"Wait a minute."
Liz got to feed the fish as well, so it's a cool
did
tour.
feed the fish.
I felt like it was only an hour, but it felt like it went by in like 20 minutes. It was like, it's already over with, but it's very interesting and I highly recommend. It's one of those things, like if you love the Living with the Land boat ride, if you've done everything there is to do at Walt Disney World, or you're looking for new experiences, this is a great new experience for your next trip. Or even if you're a local and you're annual pass holder and you've done everything but haven't done tours yet, it's kind of just do the tours. They're fun. They're good. So the next day, because basically after that we were done, we actually went over to Chloe's house. I don't know if Chloe's still watching, but we went to hang with Chloe. Liz got to meet Chloe for the first time because they've been working on some travel plans over the last year or so. So we went over there, but after that we were done. So, and we actually went to Disney Springs for a hot second that night on Saturday night, last weekend. And man, it was so busy, we could not stay there. So we headed on from Disney property, went back home and went to sleep. So the next day we headed to the Four Seasons Orlando at Walt Disney World Resort. That's kind of a mouthful, but it's Four Seasons Orlando, and it is technically on Walt Disney World property. It's in the Golden Oak area of property. So you go through the Golden Oak gates to get into the Four Seasons.
Very VIP.
There's no self-parking. You have to valet. So you valet. Make sure you take your ticket because they will validate if you're dining on the property. They will validate your ticket. And we went into Ravello for their brunch. This is not character dining. It is just a breakfast buffet. You can order a la carte as well, but it's a $40. Let me switch to the slide here. This is kind of just a quick shot of my first plate, but it's very fresh food. The quality is very high quality. It's $40 for the buffet. For endless or bottomless mimosas, it's $22, which I think is a pretty good price. $22 for bottomless mimosas. They have different flavors that you can choose from: orange, grapefruit, I think guava.
No, it's pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple. There's a bunch. I think cranberry. There's one or two more as well. And then for $1 more, 23, you can do the endless Bloody Marys. And they did allow Liz to switch to mimosa because it's $1 more. I don't know if every server would do it, but our server allowed her to switch over at the very end to a mimosa. So highly recommend this as a breakfast buffet, whether you're Orlando local or visiting. If you're staying at Walt Disney World and you're looking for something different, you don't have to be staying at the Four Seasons to go here. You can either Uber there or drive over there. And like I said, they validate parking. That's sometimes people come in the comments, like they came in the comments on my Four Seasons video, on my Four Flamingos video saying, oh, well, you have to make sure you add the charge for the expensive parking. No, these places, when you dine at these places on these properties, they validate your parking for you. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to have to pay additional for parking, especially like at Four Seasons where they don't have self-parking. They only have valet. Don't worry. They will cover you if you dine there. All right. And then after the Four Seasons, we headed over to Universal to explore just a little bit at Universal, and we did VillainCon.
Yeah. So in Minions Land, we did VillainCon, and it is still under technical rehearsal. So as you're going through, you're not allowed to film. I believe you can film some of the queue, but once you get into the actual ride, you can't film. But overall, this ride is basically like a shooter style type game. So you stand on a kind of a moving walkway, but they direct you to stand on certain circles, and you'll take a blaster gun and shoot different objects at different screens. And then the screens themselves are massive. And I think it's like it's like for all ages, like anyone can do it, and it's very fun. It's very interactive. I think the queue itself is very well themed. It has a good storyline. The pictures inside the queue were massive. They had big screens, and I thought it was so cool. They had a VillainCon like booth chart of all of the villains that were supposed to be at VillainCon. So overall, I think it's very fun. Like anybody can do it, and then I think um, they're pretty much they're in technical rehearsal, but you can honestly go like anytime throughout the week, and they're open. There's the rare occasion that it's down and they're fixing it, but for the most part, I think for now,
It's
like you can
open.
just walk into it.
Yeah, it's open because even we saw when we finished the ride and we were walking through the park, we saw yesterday or the day before. We did it
Saturday.
again. We did it again this past
We
weekend.
did it for a pass holder preview.
Yeah, for pass holder preview. And when we were walking through the park, there was signs saying VillainCon will be open later today because it was open in the morning for previews, but they're just keeping it open. So it's just, if it's not a pass holder preview or a team member preview, then they're going to keep it open to the public at this point. I think it's open basically.
Yeah. Oh, another cool interactive feature with it. You can use your Universal app on your phone to keep track of your score. So before you start the game, you'll hold the app close to the shooter gun, and it'll connect it to it so that once you're done, it'll keep track of all your scores.
So for this ride, it's like imagine the moving sidewalk at the airport combined with Buzz Lightyear. Basically, that's what it is. Or not Buzz Lightyear even. I would say Toy Story Mania, because you're dealing with screens. It's just not 3D. So you're not dealing with 3D, because that would be kind of dangerous if you're kind of like standing on your feet and doing 3D. So that's kind of the vibe. I liked it. I think that hopefully what it'll do is it'll just keep people going through the attraction nonstop. There's no loading time. There's no opportunity for the attraction to stop and load. I do wonder if for those in wheelchairs, if they are allowed. I'm not sure about what they would do for that.
Accessibility.
For accessibility. That is an interesting thing that would have to look up. But I think it's a great addition to Universal. It's not like an e-ticket attraction where it's a big fancy attraction. I think it makes sense to get people through. I'm glad it's not another theater show or something like that. I'm glad that it's actually a moving show. And it's kind of cool that you can track and keep your scores, which is none of those other type of rides have ever been able to.
So you could kind of consider it like an Omni mover.
Yeah. A moving sidewalk is what I would say. And then you also get, instead of just having like one feature, like just a regular shooting thing, you also get like special like power-ups and bombs and stuff. We don't know any kind of the theory about like how to get the highest score yet. I'm sure that people will come out with that information and say, oh, you do this to get more points. But right now, since it's so brand new, we're just shooting.
Yep.
Just shooting. So that was our weekend with Liz. I'm so glad, Liz, that you came last weekend and hung out and
it was so fun.
Joined us here in the heat. It's so hot right now. So TJ has a game for us ready to go. And so we want you to play along. If you're watching on Instagram, we're going to do a Would You Rather.
So if I had a soundboard, I'd push the soundboard button to. Yeah.
we don't have a soundboard yet for
in development. So prepare to be sick of me. All right. So this game is called Would You Rather. So let's start off. This is gonna be a mix of Disney, personal, and travel. So it's just kind of be all over the place. So the first question is: would you rather live in a world without music or a world without books?
Man, that's a hard one out the gate. Liz says without books. The books. Wow.
I feel like music can tell a story as well, but I feel like books are more vital to what's going on in society. So I feel like we need those more.
I feel like you could have a newspaper or a pamphlet, so you could still read something, but you kind of need music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say we need to have music.
I could go days without reading. I couldn't go days without music.
All right, so if you're on Instagram, type in your answer. Would you rather? Let's see. Jane Doe says no books.
Books.
Thrive in Florida Mama says that's a hard one. And then Rachel says I'd rather die. So she just gave up completely.
Either or.
And said goodbye. And then Sharon Robinson Travel says no books ? And Jane Doe says music is emotion.
True.
All right, so next question.
So the next question is going to be: would you rather be the main star on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody or Hannah Montana? I'll let you guys answer.
What if I wanted the best of both worlds?
Hey.
I like the Sweet Life.
Mhm.
I watched that more than I watched Hannah Montana, so I'm just gonna say that.
I don't know.
Liz, what
I
do you
think
say?
I'm rebooting over that question.
Well,
I
okay,
think
then TJ, what would you say?
For me, I would probably say Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I feel like they got into more fun, mischievous fun.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It was more fun. It's more dynamic. Like I love being in hotels, so that's why I would pick that.
That too, yeah.
And then they have their on deck follow-up series
Oh yeah, like
when they're on the cruise.
spin-off. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Rachel says Hannah Montana, Jane Doe says Hannah Montana, Sharon says Hannah Montana, and Chloe just says Hannah Montana, I guess. All right, so Liz, what's yours?
Oh.
I thought did you not say what it was?
No, I will go with Sweet Life.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we all on the same page? Sweet Life?
Yeah.
All right, next question.
All right, so next question is: would you rather be president of a country or CEO of a giant corporation?
A CEO of a giant corporation, I feel like. I think there's probably less pressure and you get way more money.
Am I a good company or a bad company?
I'll let you pick.
If I'm a good company, then that. But if
I say
I'm bad, then no.
I was gonna say the CEO of a corporation because that's probably a longer tenor. That's probably a longer run.
That's true. And there's a lot more you can do after that. Like you can keep going to be CEO of this and that. And,
Your
whatever.
philanthropic work.
All right. So Chloe says CEO and Thrive in Florida Mama says CEO. Let's see. Sharon says CEO. So I can give my giant dumb bonuses to my employees. I think that's a dig. All right, next question.
All right, so the next one is going to be: would you rather work at Monsters Inc. or at Gusto's?
Gusto's, like what's Gusto's?
From
like the restaurant.
Yes, from Ratatouille.
Oh, okay.
Say that question again. Are we talking about attractions or are we talking? Say it
no, would you? So,
I get it. If we were in the fictional,
yes,
place,
if you were in that world, would you rather be an employee at Monsters Inc. or an employee at Gusto's?
I'm thinking about like actual attractions.
No,
like,
you're not a cast member.
Gusto's. I would choose Gusto's. The hours would be better because it would just be for dinner time. Monsters Inc. They're working all the time.
Ratatouille is one of my favorites, so I'm gonna say Gusto's.
I would say Monsters Inc. because it'd probably be funny scaring kids.
Okay.
Dark.
Right, what do we have in the comments? Anyone in the comments? Rachel says Monsters Inc. We lost people on that question. All right, next question.
They're rebooting also.
All right, so the next question: would you rather live your entire life as a kid or as an adult?
Oh, as an adult. Rachel said she'd be Roz in Monsters Inc. We have a vote for
adult.
Adult or child? Adult.
I feel like that one's hard because the child you don't have to worry about adult things like money, and then an adult you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, but we have so much fun as adults. Like we've chosen a life where it's fun.
True.
Like we have very little stress compared to some other people. So yeah, we live a life of a child. So yeah, adult.
Okay, I'll pick adult.
So Jane Doe says kid, no bills. Chloe says adult. Denny says what adult age? That is a good question.
True.
Denny.
Right, we're talking 18
says, as a kid for sure, having someone pay the bills.
And child in the 90s.
Sharon says immature adult. And then Rachel, says child of the 90s. So Denny's asking what age. He needs a more specific
adult. Let's say. I feel like you're not really well.
It's like my 20s were way different than.
That's what I was gonna say. Whatever age you think you're well established in life, let's do that.
42?
Denny
says I'll be a grumpy old 65-year-old.
Okay.
All right. Next question.
So the next question is: would you rather go to Disney World Tokyo or Disney World California?
Tokyo.
Did you say Disney World, California?
Disneyland.
Okay, you said Disney World.
Anyway.
Check the tapes. I would
Disney-
choose Tokyo.
Disneyland or what?
Disneyland or Disney World Tokyo?
Well, I mean, right now or forever?
Just right now.
Tokyo,
Same. I want to go to Tokyo.
because that's like where I want to go next in terms of Disney.
And once we're already over there, then we will go to Shanghai and Hong Kong. Because once you've already
Let's make a whole thing. out of
trekked,
it.
just do
All right.
do a week and a half.
That's
Perfect.
right. Sharon says Tokyo. She lives in California.
Mhm.
Chloe says Tokyo. All right, next question.
All right. So the next question is: would you rather be stuck on the Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean?
Haunted Mansion.
Mine is the Haunted Mansion, hands down, because it's cold and it's dark, so you can take a nap.
All right, Liz.
I think I'd pick Pirates.
Okay.
I feel like with Pirates, you have the possibility of getting splashed by those water cannons.
Yeah, as long as you're not stuck
Mm.
right there at those water cannons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Man, I don't remember those water cannons. Well, I mean, I grew up going to Disneyland, but I don't remember those water cannons even like a few years ago being as destructive as they are now.
Not
Mhm.
destructive.
They're like,
They say, "Oh, you need to re-up your cool towel. We got you."
yeah,
Right.
they're like so. Those water cannons at Pirates are just intense now. All right, so we have some
Disneyland
answers.
is superior.
We
There's
have
this answer, yeah.
we have some responses coming in on the Instagram. Sharon says the Haunted Mansion. Chloe says the Haunted Mansion. Natalie says the Haunted Mansion. Jane Doe says the Haunted Mansion. So I think it's Haunted Mansion for the win.
Mhm.
Sorry, Liz.
Hey.
All right,
if
is
no
there any
one
more
else is
questions?
stuck on
How
it
are we
with me,
doing?
So we got 3 more.
This is fun. You guys like this segment? I kind of like this segment.
Yes. So the next one: when traveling to a new place, would you rather spend more money on food or a hotel?
Probably the
Hotel.
It's a hotel. I say both.
If you had
Because
to
you're
pick
an
one,
adult and you have adult money and you can buy what you want.
adult monies.
Yeah, I would say probably the hotel.
Mhm.
I guess it depends on where I'm going, but most likely the hotel because I want to be, in close proximity to things. And
Yeah,
generally,
like wherever-
the hotels that cost more are
Right next to things.
I
next
want
to
a
things,
bathrobe and slippers in my room.
Okay, Liz.
I'm used to
What
a
did you say,
certain
PJ?
lifestyle.
I'd probably say hotel because I feel like if you're going to a new place, the hotel is the home away from home, so you want that to feel nice.
Yes. And Chloe
Yeah.
says hotel, Nat says hotel, and Sharon says food. Jane Doe says food, but a decent hotel. I got you. I feel that. Next question.
So the next one is a little ooky spooky.
Okay.
So would you rather be left in a bush on a safari or be left in the ocean on a scuba diving trip?
Absolutely safari.
The safari.
ocean.
Yeah. I agree.
Never.
I would
the
never
ocean.
want to be left in the middle of the ocean.
I feel like
That's a dark question.
you're on land and you can see things.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Whereas you can't see what's
I
underneath.
hear the lion coming for me.
Barely.
Yeah.
All right. And do you want to?
Chloe
That'll be
says
a faster
safari. Jane Doe says bush. Nat says safari. And Brianna says safari.
Good choice.
Yeah.
And the last one: would you rather be able to live in a Barbie dreamland or have access to Club Renaissance for all of Beyonce's concerts?
Barbie.
Okay. That's a very specific question, I feel like. What's the Beyonce one? What's that? The
So Club
lounge?
Renaissance is where you literally stand right in front of her and breathe her same air. Whereas in Barbie Dreamland, if you've seen the video or the movie, it's a perfect pink
I'd
world.
rather be in a Barbie dreamland. Because I'm going to get tired of Beyonce at some point.
How dare you?
I mean, period.
Mm.
Hi, Barbie.
Liz, what's your answer?
Barbie.
That's gonna be my new greeting. Just new people. Hi Barbie. Hi Ken.
Hey, Barbie.
Let's see. So Brianna says Club Renaissance. Sharon says Barbie. Jane Doe says Barbie. Nat says Barbie. Chloe says Barbie. And Rachel says Barbie. So you and Brianna are going to be in Club Renaissance.
Okay,
And,
fair enough.
Hi, Ken.
and Nat says, hey, Ken. Or hi, Ken. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
That was fun. So we're going to
That
try
was
to do
cute.
games and incorporate games into one of the segments. Sometimes when we have guests, because we are going to have guests, when we have guests, we'll play games with them and just we want to make it fun and be interactive with you guys. Also, I want to let everyone know that this is being recorded. So I am going to post these to both Instagram as well as YouTube, so you can go back and replay them. Eventually, we will be on a podcast apps as well, Apple Music and Spotify. I just need to set that up, so it hasn't been set up yet. But eventually, these episodes will go on there, so that you can listen to them when you're on the road. So stay tuned for that. That is coming. So thank you guys, everyone who's joined thus far. We are coming almost to the end here. I have a few more things to share. So we did start a Patreon just today. The Patreon community launched today. So if you want to join the Patreon community, please do so. We would love for you to be a part of the community. Go in, check out our tiers. All of the tiers are going to have access to community chat, to discussions, exclusive tools and resources. So that list today of the magical dining, I put that in the Patreon already in a spreadsheet. So if you want to go through the list of the Walt Disney World properties that are participating in magical dining, you have that list in our Patreon. I created the spreadsheet and made it only available to Patreon members to make it super easy for you to click through and see where you want to go. So tools like that, I'm going to make available. We're going to make available in the Patreon community. And then everyone is going to have access to our public giveaways. But when you're a Patreon member, you're going to have an automatically entry into our giveaways. We're going to do quarterly giveaways. We don't like to do giveaways on our social media channels, but we will be doing giveaways on our Patreon community quarterly. They'll be open to the public, but Patreon members don't have to do anything. They're automatically entered into the giveaway. And then each tier has something different. If you're in the Parkside producer or Parks VIP Parksider, you are going to be on the show credits, producer credits for the show, just to recognize you. You're also going to get some merch. The Parkside producer is going to get a sticker after 3 months of being a member, and the VIP Parksider is going to get the sticker and the mug. We're also, to the VIPs, we're going to send out postcards throughout the year. So every tier has something a little bit different. Go check that out. You can screenshot the QR code and click on it in your Photos app after you screenshot it, or tap the link in my bio and it'll take you over to the Patreon page. We hope you'll join us over on Patreon. Like I said, it just launched today. We're just getting this started. But please be part of the Parkside Chat, the Parksider community. We're really excited to get this launched and get more comfortable, and we'll get more loosened up and have fun. Yes, we will continue. We promise to get better, but we're so glad you guys came for the first episode. I also want to remind you that this is brought to you by planetwithliz.com. For any of your travel needs, head over to planetwithliz.com and she will go ahead and get you a quote and have that discussion to get you booked on your next trip. Well, that's our first episode, guys.
We did it.
We did it.
Thank you guys so much for joining. Sharon says, good job, nice live. Love the Disney questions. I love the Disney questions too. I really like that.
They were cute.
Thank you guys so much for joining. Hey, Chaz, Natalie, hello. Thanks for joining. Quesinto, I forget your first name, Quesinto, and I forget, but thank you so much for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining for our first episode. And remember, this will be replayable on Instagram and on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe over to our YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for joining. We hope to see you over on Patreon as well. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.